Hey everyone, I'm HoldenOnHere, and today is Halloween, and so I thought that would be the perfect opportunity to do the stereotypical YouTuber thing and read scary Reddit stories. Now, I tried to originally record this in my closet with my cats, and all my batteries were dying, and it's Halloween as I speak, and I want to make sure I can, let the kids do trick-or-treating. We got candy and stuff, gotta let the tradition, live on. So we're gonna just read a couple short, scary stories from the Short Scary Stories subreddit, and just get us in a spooky mood here for Halloween. And so the first story that we're going to start with is by user Forgotten Well, and the title is "My Brother Went Missing on Halloween." It was just rotten luck that last year on Halloween. I was so sick I couldn't get out of bed. If I had been with my brother, things might have gone differently. My brother went out trick-or-treating and never came back, but I know what happened. Someone took him. Kidnapped. They have him captive right now, I'm sure. You see, to try to make me feel better, he was texting me the whole time. Updates, the houses with the best candy, house to avoid, so I have an exact roadmap of the path he went on. Tonight is Halloween again, and I'm going to find my brother. I'm dressed as a ninja, all black just like my brother was. I need to be able to slip in and out of places, especially when I find him. I start a little later than you'd think. See, my brother was convinced that as the night went on, people would be more likely to give you big handfuls of candy, try and get rid of it. First text, the Metzgers hand out full-size bars. I ring their doorbell. It's true. A full-size Twix will hit the spot. I continue following the roadmap. I entered an old neighborhood. Lots of willow trees. Lots of big hedges. The houses are huge and the candy payout is guaranteed. Second house, red house on Sir Toma. Dentists, handing out toothbrushes, avoid. Sure enough, I see kids with grimaces shrugging off the new toothbrushes they just got. I'll skip that house. The third text is about how he wishes I was there with him. Maybe I'll share with you when you get better. The fourth is another full-size candy house. Skittles for the win, but I need to focus. This means I'm getting close. The fifth and final text. Whoa. The decorations on this house are insane. I scavenge the block and I find what must be the house. Across the street, it glows orange and red. There are two 12-foot skeletons, and that's just the start. There are dismembered bodies, zombies, creatures hidden in the bushes. This must be the place they have him locked up. I slowly walk into the street, trying to figure out where to enter the house. There are so many decorations, it's hard to figure out where to start. Find a window, maybe? I don't see the electric pickup truck zoom around the street corner at all. I'm on the ground. It feels like my head is split right open. Fuck. It's hard to see through the blood, but two people have gotten out of the truck. He's wearing all black. It's not your fault. That doesn't matter. He's a fucking kid. They'll still send me to jail. God damn it. Put him in the flatbed. We'll bury him where we buried the one from last year. If we're fast, we can still make the party and have an alibi. Oh, okay. Okay, so this isn't one of the most popular ones on the one. This is just one that I saw today and it had Halloween in the name, so I thought we would we would do this one. Man, so obviously you were assuming that the kid was kidnapped. I think this story does a really good job at putting like some red herrings. Like I thought it was going to be that the dismembered bodies and stuff like that he was going to see his brother in the bushes dismembered or something, but no, the fact that I didn't even think about that. Yeah, being a ninja in all black at nighttime, I didn't think about that. That's really good writing, I think, because apparently that's what happened to his brother, that he just accidentally got ran over. That's crazy. That's crazy. Not too scary. So we'll see if we can find something else here. Okay, so this is the top post on the entire Short Scary Stories subreddit by a user named Pansick, and it's called My Family. I died 8 years ago. It wasn't particularly tragic or unusual, just a car accident. I don't blame the man who hit me. He was speeding because his wife was in labor, and there was black ice on the road. He lost control of the car, and I lost my life. I was going to say, it would actually be, it's kind of connected to the previous one, but obviously this is a different story, but it's not his fault. I know that. I'm not cruel. I'm not vengeful. If anything, I'm the opposite. You see, I don't have any family left, and I had lost my few friends around that time. When it was time for my funeral, the only people who came was my boss and the family who killed me. The wife held her newborn daughter close to her chest. I hated my boss, and the cemetery was awfully lonely, so I followed the family home. So I guess we're a ghost. This is a ghost story. Lily may as well have been my own flesh and blood. She was sweet and bright and oh so very small. She had trouble sleeping if someone wasn't rocking her crib, and her parents were so tired. After they put her to bed, it was easy for me to rock her crib for her. I didn't get tired. I could help her. As the years passed, Jack and Lori realized they weren't alone in the house. It didn't take long for them to make a connection between my funeral and when I had shown up. And I'd never been malevolent, so they weren't afraid or angry. They started to burn candles on the anniversary of my death day. They left an empty chair for meals and holidays. I really felt like a member of the family. Someone is trying to force the door. It's Lori's ex. He's obsessive. He's angry. He's going to hurt the family. My family. The thing about ghosts is that the more offerings you get, the stronger you become. I'd been enjoying candles, trinkets, and even the occasional food item for the past 5 years. I was strong from that. The knife feels warm in my hand, a shock of heat against the ice of my skin. Lori, Jack, and Lily are my family. I care about them, and they're not going to join me yet. Yeah, the top comment on that post was well written, way better than the most of the stuff I see on here. I also like the story, easy to read, felt kind of relaxed right up to the end. Nice intensity, didn't feel forced. Oh, yeah, because it's like, you know, you're expecting like, when are you going to haunt the family itself and stuff? And that was a good one. That was a good one. Oh, okay. None of these are like too scary, but like, that was a good one. Okay, what else we got? Okay, so this is from 5 years ago by Malia Girl 1314, and it's titled, I Should Have Read the Reviews. My girlfriend moved out 3 weeks ago. My cat, Ruck, was really close to her, and now that she's gone, I can tell he's a bit lonely, especially when I'm at work. I come home a few times to my curtains ripped up or all the toilet paper in shreds. The last straw was when I came home after working late to find he had clawed a hole the size of a dinner plate into the side of the sofa. I decided I had to do something. I tried different toys, even catnip, but nothing worked. One night while browsing Amazon, I saw a pet camera. It's a tiny camera that records your pet on a live feed so you can monitor their behavior while you're away. It even has an audio function so you can talk to them. Sounded silly, but hey, I love my furry dude, so I bought it. I got overnight shipping and installed it immediately. I decided to set it up in my bedroom, as that was where Ruck dwelled most. My first day at work, I think I checked that camera 30 times. When I spoke into the microphone, Ruck seemed to be happier, and I noticed there was no destruction around the house either. By day 4, I figured I'd solved the problem with Ruck. That leads me to right now. About 30 minutes ago, I climbed into bed with Ruck, ready to close my eyes, when my phone buzzed. A notification from the pet cam. I almost ignored it. Sure, I just triggered the thing, but I opened it anyway. What I saw made my grip tighten on the phone. Instead of a video of myself in bed, I saw a man, tall, gangly, with pale skin and large eyes. He was moving into my room with exaggerated steps like a sneaking cartoon character. He got right up to the lens, so close I could almost smell his rotten breath, and he smiled. I immediately paused the video, terrified. I looked at the spot where the man should have been standing, but there was no one there. I went onto Amazon and found the pet cam and read the reviews, hoping for some weird glitch. It had to be a joke, right? The first dozen reviews were pretty standard, but it was the last that caused me to bolt upright. The customer complained that the camera was on a time delay, sometimes as much as 15 minutes. I went back to the video and pressed play with shaky fingers. I watched in horror as the man slithered under my bed, giving the camera a wink before disappearing in the darkness. Then I saw myself enter the room and climb in bed before the video ended. Now I'm sitting in my bed knowing he's under it. I could call the police, but I doubt I'd have time. So please do yourself a favor and read the reviews. That one was good. I wasn't expecting the time delay. I was thinking that one was gonna go somewhere like he was being watched or stalked or something like that, which I guess maybe you could argue was happening if they knew the location, or it was just a delay or something like that. I don't know. I guess it doesn't necessarily imply that the pet camera had anything to do with the burglary, but I don't know. I was almost like thinking the story was going to go that like it was almost like haunted, or you know, they were going to use that to break in, which maybe that is what was happening, but it seems more like a separate occasion, and it's just the circumstances of finding out that the whole thing is on a 15-minute delay, which is crazy actually. Wouldn't you, I suppose the only problem with this story is, wouldn't you have noticed that when you talk into a camera? Because I have one of the automatic pet feeders, and when you talk into it, if you talked in, also right as I said that, I guess their automatic feeder went off at 6:15. We have it feed them multiple times a day because they're on like a medicated pet diet. But that's crazy. But when you talk into it, you would know if there was a 15-minute delay. So that's the only snag in the whole story for me, but pretty good. So this is from 6 years ago. It's by user Perfect Nightmare, and it's called Someone Broke Into Our Home. It was every family's nightmare. My wife and I had the day off work, and we had taken our son out for lunch and some family bonding time. But as we approached our home, something felt off. I had a growing sense of dread the closer we got. As our house came into view, I could see that the front door was wide open. Someone had broken into our home. I told my family to wait outside in case the intruder was still inside. They obliged, and I slowly and silently made my way through our house. As I stepped into the living room, I saw broken furniture, nothing in its correct place, just utter chaos. Was this person looking for something? Did they have malicious intent? Why our home? Why us? Next, I walked into our kitchen. The fridge had been emptied. Dishes and food were thrown all over the room. What kind of person had broken into our home? A homeless person who just needed food? If so, why had they destroyed the living room? That's when I heard it. Footsteps in the bedroom. The intruder was still in our house. I took a brief moment to be grateful that I had asked my wife and son to wait outside. It was impossible to decipher this person's motive so far, but I was about to come face to face with the person that forcefully entered our home, and I would demand answers. I crept towards the bedroom slowly. I approached the door and focused on the silver of light slipping through the crack. I could see faint shadows dancing in the light. I raised my hand, placed it against the door, and took a deep breath, readying myself for whatever may be on the other side. I pushed the door open and stepped through the threshold with authority. I couldn't believe my eyes. I actually rubbed my hands over them, thinking I was imagining things. There, in my son's bed, was a young girl with curly blonde hair. She stared at me with wide eyes. She must have been terrified. I must have been a few feet taller and at least 100 pounds heavier than her. I must have been a sight to see for that little girl, but she should have considered that before breaking into my home. I called my wife and son to see what I found. "Is that a human, Papa?" "Why, yes, that is, baby bear. That's dinner." Wait, what? Is that a human, Papa? I called my wife and son to see what I found. "Is that a human, Papa?" "Why, yes, it is, baby bear. That's..." Oh, okay. That's kind of what I got. So this is just the story of Goldilocks. This is just the story of Goldilocks. For those of you guys that somehow haven't heard it, you know, a little girl breaks into, effectively, probably, right, Bear's house, tries the beds. The dad's bed was too hard, the mom's bed was too soft, and the kid's bed was just right. And then the porridge, tried the porridge. Mama's was too cold, and daddy's was too hot, but the little ones was just right, and stuff like that. And it's a nursery rhyme. So I guess in this instance, this is happening, but the bears get there, and then they're gonna eat them and kill them, I suppose. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. So let's do one more here. I like these short, scary stories. I was trying to record this episode earlier, and I was on the No Sleep subreddit, and there were some really good stories on there. Maybe I'll include one. I don't know. Here, you know what? Sure, I'll include the one story that I actually really enjoyed from there. And so let's do that as the finale. Is by Manon Lysette, and it's called "A Package Marked Return to Sender." My neighbor is one of those annoying wannabe YouTube personalities, like Hold It On Here, Time to Grind, stuff like that. Over the years, I've seen him cough out cinnamon, lay flat on the hood of his car as it slowly creeps down the driveway, and douse himself in lukewarm water, all the while screaming epic win, epic fail, or fuck, epic maintenance of the status quo. For all I know, it can get tiring to watch him go about his shenanigans in the pursuit of viral fame. So when he knocked on my door the other day, told me he was going away for a few weeks, and asked that I get his mail, honestly, it was a relief. I can't explain the peace of mind I had knowing I didn't have to brace myself for any of his stupidity for a while. I was always afraid his stunts would wind up bleeding over into my life. And I have a cat crawling into my lap right now as we're telling these scary stories. I'll post some pictures. Things were pretty normal for the first couple of days. He received a few bills, a bit of spam, and what I could only assume was a birthday card. Then one evening, I got home to find a cardboard box waiting on his front porch. In big red letters was written, "Return to sender." I'm no small fry, but I admit I had trouble lifting the box on my own. It was really freaking heavy. Lugging it across the road to my house was even harder, and I quickly realized there was no way I was going to drag it up the stairs and through my front door. I decided I'd leave his package in my garage. It wasn't like I kept my car in there. The garage door was a piece of shit that refused to open without a good thug and a whack. It was less trouble just leaving the car in the driveway than it was to fight with the garage door every morning and night. In hindsight, I should have set the package down while I struggled to open the tricky door, but you know how it is when you've got a good grip on something. No point in settling it down if you don't have to. It was as I kicked the door for the third time that I lost my grip and the package, and it fell to the ground. I heard a light crack inside. Shit, I cursed. I hoped I hadn't broken anything important, but figured I just wouldn't tell my neighbor about it and let him assume the break happened en route. Hands-free, I finally managed to get the garage door unstuck, and boy did it screech in protest as it rolled up and over me. I dragged the box the rest of the way, setting it in the corner for whenever my neighbor would come back to claim it. And then, I forgot all about it. Until a few days passed, that is. I'm not sure exactly how long it took for the smell to waft in from the crack under the garage to house door, but it came in a slow progression. It was a sickly sweet odor similar to a skunk, and for the first few days after I smelled it, I genuinely assumed that's exactly what it was. Roadkill that had left its mark on my house. It was only when I realized the scent was growing more intense instead of fading that I went looking for a source. That's when I opened the garage door, and that's when the odor knocked me back, holding my nose. The culprit wasn't hard to identify. The only change in my garage was the box in the corner. I remember thinking it must have been one of those meat of the month subscription boxes. The meat must have gone rancid from being left out of the fridge for so long. How much meat could have been in there for the box to have been so large and heavy? An entire freaking cow? I covered my nose as I approached the box, a pair of scissors in my hand. I probably wouldn't have needed them to open it, as it had become soggy enough at the bottom to poke through with a finger, but I wasn't about to poke my finger into spoiled meat juices. That soggy bottom was the reason I had to open the box in the first place. If I tried to drag it out whole, everything would spill onto the floor. I was going to have to dump the pieces of meat, one garbage bag at a time, and take them down to the dumpster, a process I wasn't looking forward to. My scissors tore through the tape along the top of the cardboard box. I thought the smell couldn't get any worse, but as I flipped the flaps open, I discovered a whole new gamut of stink. It was like opening a burning oven, but instead of a heat wave, I was met with waves of piss, sweat, shit, and putrefaction. It was so bad that I staggered back and had to force down the puke begging to guzzle out of me. I don't think I could have handled that scent mingling with the horrors coming out of the box. I'm not ashamed to admit I ran out the door for a breath of fresh air, but in short time I'd spent in the garage, the smell had become so ingrained in the fabric of my clothes that it clung to me like a shadow. Nothing I tried could keep the smell out of my nostrils. Not air fresheners, not a face mask, not 3 showers and a garage of clothes. Every second that box lay open in my garage was another second the smell was allowed a foothold into my home. I had to bite the bullet. I returned to the garage, the flaps of the box still open, as though inviting me to look. I was prepared, a clothespin pinning my nostrils shut, a garbage bag in one hand, the strongest cleaner I could find in the other, and long rubber gloves to keep my skin from having to touch what was inside. But as it turns out, I needed none of those things. I wouldn't have to touch or clean the contents of that box. I would only have to suffer the nightmares every night. You see, there was a meat in that box, but it didn't come from a cow or a pig. No, it was worse than that. It was my neighbor, dead. Still in one piece, but dead. I called the cops, and naturally they took me in for interrogation. It's kind of hard not to suspect the man with the corpse in the garage after all. Thankfully, they soon realized I wasn't involved. My DNA might have been all over that box, the smell might have left a mark throughout my house, but there was one piece of irrefutable evidence in my neighbor's own hands that proved my innocence: a vlogging camera. They showed me the footage only once. I'm not sure if they were allowed to or if they felt so bad for me they figured it couldn't hurt. Either way, I saw it. My neighbor was sitting in the box outside of a shipping facility, laughing as he told the world how he was going to mail himself across state lines. He'd brought pee bottles, food, a pillow, and a few flashlights. His friend, a guy I'd seen at his place several times to help with his stunts, closed the lid and presumably dropped him off for shipment. Throughout the next couple of hours, or days, I'm honestly not sure, my neighbor recorded a few short clips about his progress. I think I'm in a truck now. I can still feel it moving. Must be in a warehouse. Pretty warm here. Still got plenty of food. That kind of stuff. And then on the last entry, the box toppled over. He broke his neck, and that was it. The camera recorded until the memory card got too full or the battery died. There's one thing I didn't tell the police after they showed me the video. One thing I heard in the footage that will haunt me to the day I die. Just after the tumbling that broke his neck, I heard the familiar screeching sound of my garage door. Oh my gosh. I didn't know where that was going. I assumed that like there was someone inside the... I'm assuming that someone was like inside the box, but having the neighbor do it and it was just some viral YouTube vlog or something like that makes a lot of sense. But the fact that it was probably the person tipping it over at the very, very end, so they themselves killed the person, is crazy. That is insane. Okay, there we go. So I know we're jumping around a lot. I really wanted this video to be more professional than it really was, but I wanted to make sure I at least got something out for you guys. It's almost 6:30 p.m. and there may or may not be trick-or-treaters coming by, and I'm not streaming today, so I could give out Halloween candy to keep the tradition going. I've never gotten to do that. I own a house now, and I love trick-or-treating as a kid, and so we put Halloween decorations out, and I do really want to, to keep the tradition going. But I wanted to put another fun video out for, the Holden On Here channel. We made that video earlier just talking about why I hate haunted houses so much. So, check that, video if you want some more spooky stuff. We also did a ton of horror game videos over on the Time to Grind channel. We put out a jump scare compilation of all the best jump scares from the last year. So been working really hard on all the Halloween stuff over on the Time to Grind channel, but want to make sure I don't neglect this channel, even if it's, some just random videos like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope it was good for spooky season. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. I hope you guys have a good Halloween, and hope it's spooky, but not too spooky, I suppose. I'm holding on here, holding on. I don't know, like y'all, and subscribe, ring that bell to get us, try to get us caught up to the Time to Grind channel, and have a spooky rest of the day.